Like, why did you decide to go into the academic?
Even if I don't find anything, I want to try to help. 2 years to have like a general license, kind of. I studied like bone cancer in France during my PhD.
So you basically, at this point in time, you're trying to disprove it.
Exactly. It's not a mistake. But over time, the tumor is able to adapt, evolve, and resist. We have discovered like 3/4 stuff in melanoma.
Really?
So the goal is to have a balance between being effective on the tumor and not too toxic on the rest of the body, on the normal cells.
All right, so we're finally here. We've been planning this, and honestly, I'm delighted to have you here with me because you probably are one of the smartest people that I've had on my podcast. No, I'm being serious because I don't always interview, professors and people that work at institutions like UCLA. But, when I started looking into your persona outside of how I know you, because we obviously play soccer together and we've known each other for a while. Turns out that you have more works published than Michael Connelly. I can see that there's so many scientific works that you published, but before we get to that, please tell me about yourself. Where are you from?
Thank you, Oleg, for having me. I'm very pleased, as usual, to be with you and to spend time with you. Quickly, I'm from France. You are gonna see from my accent. I have played soccer in France, as you know, because we met through soccer or football. And then I did my education because football was not like for sure for me as a living. So I did like a school of science. I went to university after having my high school final, baccalaureate in France. I went to university, I did biology. So at that time it was a bit weird. It was 2 years to have like a general license, kind of. So I did like animal biology, and then I specialized in cell biology and pharmacology to have more knowledge on signaling, because I liked that. I went to get a Master 1 at that time. And then during the Master 1, we had to do an internship. So I was
Master 1, that's like basically like
4 years in university.
Master's degree
master
over here.
degree in the US, but in France, at that time, it was divided in 2 years, Master 1, and then you go to Master 2 that can be research or more professional to be an engineer. What decide on that is what you are gonna like more. And me, I didn't know. So I went to a lab to do like to experience like what is doing like experiment, doing pipetting, and trying to do stuff, because you don't learn that at school. So I go, and it was very cool. I really liked having to think about like doing an experiment, planning, doing it, seeing the result, failing, succeeding, like whatsoever, all the process of that, and trying to get the answer. So with I had a supervisor that was very good. It was in Nantes. Nantes. I was in Le Havre doing my education. I got this lab opportunity in Nantes. So I went to Nantes, did 6-7 months, and the guy said, "Oh, we would like to keep you. If you want to do that, you have to do a Master 2 research in Paris." So I went to Paris to do that. It went well. I got a fellowship to do my PhD based on score. So I did good. So I went to the lab and I did my PhD for 3 years in Nantes under the same supervisor guy. And then in France, when you finish your PhD, so you have like a defense. Then France said like you have to go outside of the country because you have to learn English.
Oh, so they basically like suggest and they say, hey, you've achieved whatever you could have achieved over here education-wise. So in order for you to continue growing, you got to go outside.
Exactly,
really?
It's exactly that. So you get your degree, so doctor in biology, so PhD. And so I was looking for, hey, I want to go to Australia. I want to go to Australia. I sent like 50 CVs. No answer. I'm like,
really?
Okay.
It's too far. They never made it. They might still respond. They might still respond in a couple of years.
Exactly. Yeah. So
it's just too far, man.
So it didn't work. I'm like, okay, LA. And there was like some website to find jobs. So after, when you are a young PhD doctor, there is Nature, like the journal Nature that you can publish in. That is one of the best journals. They have Nature jobs. So they have opportunities of finding a postdoc like me. So just after PhD, you have to get again more education, more experience. So I was looking for this kind of position to grow up as a scientist. I found 2 opportunities at UCLA. One guy replied within 2 hours. Start having a discussion with him over by email.
Isn't it crazy how our lives sometimes consist of this kind of coincidence where you start getting just a good feeling of somebody being super responsive, super quick. And I mean, it's obviously not the main thing when you look for a job, right? Oh, this guy responded first, but it certainly helps when it starts that way.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like a bit of a chance, choice, opportunity, and you jump on it. You have a good connection. I think it's just what you push again to do it, because you can say, oh, I want to do that, but if you don't start doing it or start pushing to get it, you don't get anything.
No, 100%. But before we get to Los Angeles, let me ask you this, because I have a lot of friends. I attempted to play soccer myself, and I have a lot of friends that never made the switch to professional careers from soccer. They just ended up getting stuck, second, third leagues, and they're 30, 40 years old right now. They're still there. They're still, playing for, quite frankly, for pennies.
Yeah.
Right? How and why did you decide to go into academia, to go into getting some kind of profession, rather than just, trying to make it in soccer up until there's no cutoff date, right? Like some people are still trying to make it at 25, at 30, they're still hopeful. Like, why did you decide to go into the academia? Because I know how much you love soccer. Why did you decide to sort of do the switch?
So going back to a bit my soccer career, yes, I played in 3 professional clubs. So I got hired at 12 by a Nantes team, up to 18. Then they fired me. I went to another one in a trial, didn't go very well with a pro. So I was still 18, so it was still young at that time to be pro. So I went back to my city, and they were playing in League 1, League 2, or League 2 at that time. So they took me in a pro and second team, like Primavera or reserve team. And I did like 2 years with them. And I mean, at some point you have to be, I think I was honest with myself, or I knew that I knew my skills, and I knew I could maybe play in League 2, but maybe I was not good enough to be in League 1 in France, or in the best leagues in Europe. At some point I decided, like, what should I do? Like, should I struggle my entire life to try for pennies or for very much low salary?
And there's, just to put it, it's like,
nothing bad,
honestly, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing.
And it's great that people do it. It's just the choice.
It's
I'm
a choice,
curious
exactly.
in why.
So I think my level was. I love that. We still play. We have a team together. We are having fun training and game. I think my passion for soccer, for football, was dropping. I didn't like it anymore. Like, too much pressure from the team, from the expectation of winning and stuff at this level, compared with the joy of playing. So
just started switching from one side to another.
A passion that we do to a job with inconvenience. So, and I said, like, no, I don't want to go and play my sport that I'm in love with and not being happy. I did everything, balance, talked to my manager, agent at that time, and said, like, I'm gonna stop. So we have to break the contract. And I played in League 4, in League 3, League 4 in France during my education. So it was because I was getting a bit of money like that. It was good to pay my education and to have a bit of money on the side and not asking my parents for everything. At school, I was only good in biology, so I was struggling because football and education is difficult to do that together, especially when you have two or 3 trainings per day. But in biology, I was okay, so I pursued my career in biology. And then it didn't arrive like that, academia. It took time. Again, like I told you, I did my education because, again, it was something I liked, biology, learning. And then the internship in a lab made me totally switch. I'm like, oh, that's exactly what I want to do right now. I want to discover, or I want to search. Even if I don't find anything, I want to try to help people and try to discover stuff that can help the doctor to treat or to cure. I'm like, wow, that's exactly what I want to do at that moment. It was the beginning, and then after PhD, then moving to a different country.
Speaking of moving to different countries, so you started telling me the story of Los Angeles. The guy from UCLA was responsive, but obviously there were some other options. You sent a bunch of applications to many countries. Did you have your eyes on Los Angeles? Did you have priorities?
I did. I honestly wanted to have a bit of a good balance between sun, location, and work. Because I'm coming from a state in France that it's raining all the time. I just wanted to enjoy a bit of a big combination between working hard and having the opportunity to be at the beach, doing a workout outside, this kind of stuff.
How often are you at the beach right now?
Not very often, actually.
The reason I'm asking this is because, we live here in LA, and I feel like, we go to the beach when somebody comes to visit us from France or Ukraine, and we're like, that is true. You're right. True. I completely forgot that I live, almost at the beach, so let's go check it out.
Yeah, totally. At the beginning, I was going more often, to be honest. Now a bit less. And I have time, but I think priorities changed a bit. But I still love going to the beach just for a walk or just for a run. It's lovely to have this, but because we know we can. That's the thing. That's the thing. There is not a day that's it's beautiful every day. So there is not like, oh, I have to go because tomorrow is gonna rain. No, tomorrow is gonna be beautiful. After tomorrow is gonna be beautiful.
Chill. Relax, man. Tomorrow is gonna be another beautiful day in paradise.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
So cool. Beautiful day in paradise was one of the motivating factors for you. So you thought, okay, I need a place. And
the second was the project.
Okay.
So I knew what I wanted to work on.
Okay.
So I studied like bone cancer in France during my PhD. I still wanted to stay in cancer, but studying another cancer to have like a different way of studying the cancer, the biology behind the cancer, and try to have like different approaches to find therapeutics. And I wanted to work on resistance in cancer, meaning that we know that therapeutics work very well now sometimes on certain type of cancers. But over time, the tumor is able to adapt, evolve, and resist. And I wanted to work on this kind of like adaptation.
So you already had an idea of what you're drawn to specifically within your field. LA and UCLA specifically just kind of fit the bill.
Exactly, and this guy proposing like this job opportunity, he was working on melanoma, so skin cancer, and on studying resistance. I'm like, wow, that fits exactly a new cancer and exactly what I want to study. Since I have done that on bone cancer, on osteosarcoma, my skills could apply to this cancer, but learning new knowledge and new approaches. The feeling with this guy went super well, and he's still my big boss at UCLA. So I have been working with him for 10 years, and after under him mentorship.
It's the same. Are you still working with the same guy?
I'm still working with the same guy for the fact.
Really?
So now I'm more independent. But he's my big boss of he's my mentor.
So how did the relationship started? You had to come over here and see the facility. Did you have to do the interviews? How did that work?
Interview on the phone. So
that was no Zoom back in the day. We're dating you right now. So you're sitting over here just dialing.
Yeah. He calls me, and so we chat about like science, what his lab is focusing on. So he knew my CV, he knew what I have published, because publication is a big part of our job. We have to publish, and the level of publication, our journal we published in.
Tell me about this whole publication thing, because I've seen that you've published a lot of stuff. What exactly is it? So it's basically a topic that you take and you research very deeply, and you provide your expertise in it, or how does it work?
The goal is like, so you research, and when you think you have enough data to make a story, you make a story. So again, it can be unlimited time, but you have to, again, learn when you have to stop your project that has enough data.
Because it starts floating into something else, and you don't want to dilute it.
Always go to something else after, because a question, open a question, etc. And so you have to finish, you put together, you package, you make a story, you write very well, you do your figures, and if it's novel, if it's discovery, you know that you can target a big journal that publish discovery. So a real discovery, something that has never been found before. I got lucky with this lab at UCLA. We have discovered like 3/4 stuff in melanoma. Really? So no one has seen that before. We have seen it, we have discovered it, we have validated it.
What's the feeling like? Because I mean, this is one of the things that I have no frame of reference. I can't imagine how you looking at something, and at some point in time you understand that this is the thing that people just didn't know about before, they didn't see it before, they didn't realize it before. Like, what's the feeling like when you when you go through this?
But first feeling is like you have made a mistake. It's like, no one has found that before. You are not going to be the one finding something. You repeat, because you have to repeat 3-4 times the experiment, the same experiment, and then you have to find a different way of finding the same result, just to have a different validation. So I did that. So first of all, I brainstormed with my coworker and my boss at that time, and I say, hey, I have found that. I have repeated 3-4 times. I have done this other experiment.
So you basically, at this point in time, you're trying to disprove it.
Exactly. It's not a mistake. Okay. Then I have someone else to do it. I'm not telling what I have done. Telling I look for that, please. You are not gonna get my protocol. I have done that. Do it with your hands. If this person found it, that means, well, it's not a mistake of my end. I have not repeated many times the same mistake.
Yeah, because you could be basically invested into proving yourself right. Okay.
So does it. Then after we start to think like, okay, it's new. We have to be very solid, because people they have to trust. They have to be able to repeat. So this kind of stuff, and this is what we have done. And after the community, sometimes they don't very much accept that at first, because they say no, impossible. Like
That's the process of any discovery.
So I'm
pretty
going to
much.
give you an example. Like I think it was 2012 or 13, we found like in resistance in melanoma, when you treat with a product called it's a specific inhibitor that targets a specific mutation in melanoma.
Okay.
Beautiful job done by a company in San Francisco in 2010. Cancer drops. Like, so the tumor has a beautiful shrinkage and tumor control, and unfortunately after 1, 2 years, 3 years of the tumor relapse. Yeah. We analyze those tumors, we take the genome, and we did that sequencing, and we find that, wow, one gene that corresponding to this specific protein and is, normally you have two copies because you have the chromosome, you know.
Yeah.
This one has, instead of having 2 copies, he has like 10, 15 copies. And we're like, wow, we made a mistake. So we validate everything. And so we, tumors from patient, we validate, we find that on many patients, we take that on tumor from the mice, that we do exactly the same treatment. We generate resistance, we study, we find that, okay, it's not random, you know, like. And at that time, it was the first time that we found like, we call amplification of a gene in our disease, in melanoma, and people, they were like, nah. So we targeted the best journal, they said no. And then, so we went to a very good journal after because they trusted our data. But now 50% of the resistance in melanoma are through this mechanism.
So it took basically 12, 13 years for that to become more or less common knowledge.
Probably it took like 3-4 years after, just for people to find that in their different like cohort of patients to validate what we have found. And we are the first one to have the validation, the observation, validation, etc. But now it's all set, you know. And this kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a bit of like, wow, you're happy, but you're stressed. You have to validate. You have to make sure it's not an artifact, and then you go for. Because the goal is to discover some stuff like that. So yeah.
You know, now when you're telling me all of these things, I'm kind of throwing away all my questions and just freeballing here. How does your brain work? Because when you work with the research, you constantly are thinking about the results of it, about, you know, the practices. Are you able to like switch it off sometimes? I understand soccer is something that allows us to sort of, you know, just stop what we're doing and concentrate on kicking the ball for 2 hours or whatever it may be. But you know, the rest of 22 hours, are you able to stop thinking about this stuff? Because there's so much analysis that comes into this.
So sometimes yes and sometimes no. Sometimes when you are like excited on a project and you know you have something kind of new, you want to push to be the first one to publish and to win a bit the competition of being the first, you know. So it's kind of, so it's exciting. Now I am able to switch off sometime and say, okay, it's time to not think about science and to have a life with friends, family, and everything. So I think it's a structure to put yourself in and to force yourself to have, because again, I think we have to have a balance between.
Is that possible?
I think it's even not possible. I think you have to. You must, otherwise you are gonna burn out. That's my feeling. That's how I am. Maybe people, they cannot, and good for them if they are able to do everything at 100%. Me, I have to have a balance, and I know that when I have my balance, I am better at my job, because I know that I can go play soccer with my friends. I have my moment of freedom, not thinking about anything except having fun with my friend on the pitch. But then when I'm at work, I'm 100% at work and I give everything. And then when I'm with my wife, of course, she's part of medical stuff, so we talk about science and medicine all the time, but not that deep, I would say. Not in terms of like, hey, we have to think, creating like a rational hypothesis of work, making a project. No, like more light.
Isn't it difficult to have a partner at home that basically could be one of your best advisors, because she thinks in the same way and she can understand what you need for your work, so she doesn't come into this without having any idea of what is it that you do on day to day. She has a very clear idea because she's in medical field as well. But isn't it difficult to have somebody like that right here sitting next to you, you know, at the dinner table, but not being able to ask those questions because you have to pull away, you know, kind of have a little bit of separation between work?
Yeah, but at first I didn't want to date someone in kind of in my field. And actually it didn't work, because when I have to work until 2, 3 a.m. sometimes, 4 a.m. writing, and you cannot stop, and
other people wouldn't get it.
They don't get it. They said, yes, we get it, and at some point it goes back to you like in your face. So no, she's an MD, so medical doctor. So we share a lot of stuff, but we don't share a lot of stuff as well. Because me, I'm in a biology part, so the mechanism of action, how this stuff works very much in details, while she is in symptoms, drug prescription, curing. So actually both are very complementary. So of course she has a lot of knowledge on my stuff and I have a bit of knowledge on her stuff. But it's good because she can understand my stuff as I can understand, but we have our separate world too.
Okay.
But it's very good because sometimes I ask, hey, does it make sense what I just wrote today on my
But
stuff?
doesn't she get tired and just tells you, Gatien, stop fucking talking about work? Like, can we just talk about, the dinner we had last night, or like, my friend is cheating on his husband, wife, whatever. Like, can we just talk about like shit? Can we just turn on Netflix and like watch the Love Island?
I mean, we do that. Sometimes I think I'm gonna know when I have to stop because I'm the guy talking.
Are you good at this?
Yeah.
Understanding when you have to stop.
Maybe not good, but I think now I get it a bit. So I learn to shut up a bit.
It's a little bit of a self-therapy session for me because I'm bad at this stuff. So I'm trying to learn.
We learn as well. Me too. I'm kind of like I love talking, But sometimes I know what when she's like, okay, I have to shut up. I'm not gonna talk about science anymore. We're gonna watch TV. But yeah, it's good. Or if I want to do my stuff, I go do my stuff. And sometimes she has to work as well, more than me, or different cycle of work. So I shut up because she has to work, and she goes to the office and she works, or me. So it's just communication. Like yesterday she came super late and she still had to work until midnight.
Yeah,
that's it. So you
just know you gotta give her space.
We have space, and we understand that sometimes as a work we have no choice.
Just takes priority at certain times.
Exactly, work doesn't stop at 6 or 7 p.m. It's going to last until you are done. When you have like a bit of leadership position, you have to do this kind of stuff because you have no choice. You don't have enough time during your 8 hours of work or 10 hours of work to finish everything, so you have to be at home doing it.
Because I'll be honest with you, to me, you are somewhat of an enigma, somewhat of a very unique type of case, because people that come from the sport world, they either end up running their own business, doing something, or they end up doing something much, much simpler than what you went to. What do you contribute to the fact that you found such a sophisticated, such a difficult field as a science? Were you always analytical? Because I don't really see people. It's just you and Matthew Flemini, that are so smart that they came from kicking the ball.
Actually, in my first team in Nantes, the kids, they were kind of smart, like they were all following like science education at school. I think it's just a question of like how you are. A bit of soccer is something, but me being curious in other stuff, it's me, And I think it's totally that in the US that you can do your sport high level and do like education at the same time. It was a bit more complicated in France, to be honest.
I know those are almost parallel worlds.
Exactly,
they don't coexist.
No,
you do either or.
I got in my face like, either you play soccer or you go to school, and I'm like, why I cannot do both? I just have to organize myself, but you have to give me. It's not a chance. You have to let me do what I want to do, and I have to prove you that I can be good at both, or be okay at. You cannot say, you have to be at school and you have to stop soccer. Why? I don't understand that. No, and what I like from Mbappé is foundation. He pushed young people to do that. You have to do like art, music, sport in a way that you have to do it. And then you have to do school as well. So all the combination, you have to find a way to have the combination of everything and to just to bloom. And some kids, they have to have this kind of stuff. Some kids, they are just school or sport or whatever. It's just you have to find your way. So I just find my way in biology because I think I like to understand. I'm curious and I like to understand, so I just push on that. Perfect because science or biology or translational research like I do, it's exactly that. You are curious? Do whatever you want to do and look for it, search, and find something and try to help the doctor to cure the patient after by step. I found that, this guy is gonna find that, and all together we are gonna help the community to find a better cure or better therapeutics. And that's only my goal is to try to have just one stone for people to do some stuff. And if we are thousands of doing that.
What particular projects are you working on nowadays?
Actually, we have several projects in lab. One, so it's a bit. So one on the genome. So we know that therapeutics can destabilize the genome and make the tumor. So breaking the genome in a lot of pieces, reorganizing the genome, and then giving resistance to the tumor. So we are studying that, and we are studying like how we can impact or how can we break the evolution of the tumor? Saying like, hey, if we put a drug at that moment, maybe we can make the tumor struggle and the tumor cannot evolve, adapt, and die. The second project is on therapeutics. So we know that those drugs for melanoma, based on the genotype of the tumor, they work super well. They are on target, we say. So they are efficient. Sometimes they are too efficient. That means they can create a bit of toxicity on patient. So the goal is to have a balance between being effective on the tumor and not too toxic on the rest of the body, on the normal cells.
Right.
So I'm working on that, trying to find a way to be very aggressive on the tumor.
To balance it out a little bit more.
Exactly, have a balance. And so we know how to do that, but we try to create like a pre-clinical trials on little mice, like to mimic what happened on patient and to say, okay, I'm gonna stop the treatment, put another treatment, see how the tumor evolves, take the genome of the tumor, analyze the genome, and say, okay, we are good, let's do that again. So this kind of so balance on therapeutics and toxicity.
Now, when you talk about your work, you obviously mentioned working from home, you mentioned working from lab. I know that you go to conferences, but in general, I'm trying to understand, how does your work life look like? Because it's not a typical, 9 to 5. You don't have just this office that you come into or cubicle, for the lack of a better term, where you sit down from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. How does your work look like? You have to be at the office every single day?
So,
Do you have weekends off? I mean, because I don't know anything about UCLA professors.
It's a very good question, because that's a very weird world, biology or research. Per se, we have a lab, so we have a lot of machines, a lot of new technologies as well. So machines that can deliver that we are gonna perform an experiment with and get data from that. Some experiments, sometimes they last 2 days, 3 days. So you have to be in lab for 2-3 days. With incubation time, with different time of putting an antibody, this product. So you do very much like experiment at the bench. So we have a lot of, you can come to my lab, I will show you. We have several.
I'm actually super curious because one of the reasons I do this, because I'm genuinely curious about what people do for a living and how.
I will take you in my lab and I will show you all the machines. And so for example, like many years ago, we bought a little machine like that, $500K.
Sounds about right.
It's super expensive. So
we get, don't buy a big machine. I don't want to hear that.
And it's not a big machine, it's a small machine. And this kind of machine can, it's to perform an experiment called single cell RNA sequencing. So you are going to collect the RNA from one cell, of course, not only one, but from 1,000 cells, but one by one. Like that, you can do cluster, you can see like this kind of different population at the same time. So we got this machine. So it's just amazing. And I think technology improved the past 10 years for us to help. But if you compare to physics or astrophysics, that they went to the moon in 1969, we just did sequencing in 2001. So we are late, and I think we are catching up on technology to push for biology and science. So we have a lot of machines. So we discuss about, we have this project, we want to work that. What are the questions we want to answer? Okay, what are the hypotheses? Okay, we work on that. Then to have this answer, what experiment you are gonna perform? Okay, so we structured, of course I have a lot of doctors in a lab, so they know exactly what they have to do. So we just discuss about hey, let's work on that, and after they know what to do. But if you have a PhD student or undergrad, then you are gonna teach them, hey, to have this answer, you have to do this experiment. So if you want to see death of tumor cells, so you put your tumor, your cells on a dish, on different dish, then you put the drug, and you see the effect of the drug, and you see by eye or by different approaches the number of dead cells. Then you have to be very rigorous. Protocol-wise, you have to repeat, you have to use a good positive control, negative control. So it's just a question of teaching the good habit, positive control, make sure the experiment.
So that's a lab. That's the part of your job that consists in this very controlled environment, white coats, glasses, gloves,
shirt,
everything.
Like a mask, double glove if you are working on when you make virus. I make virus, and inside my virus they have oncogene, so a gene that can create a cancer. You have to be in a special environment, so it's called BSL2+ at UCLA. So the pressure is different. Your hood, where you do your experiment, has to have a special air filter or stuff like that to protect you and your environment, not only you, but as well your coworker.
How big of a part of overall your job is this? What people think about when they say I'm a scientist or I'm a doctor at UCLA, this is what people think about. But how big of a part of your work day it is? 20%, 30%, 10%?
It's 100% of the time of the postdoc in lab or PhD student in lab. It's 100% of the time. And for me, it's a bit less because now I am a bit higher in position, so I have people doing it, and I still do a bit because
so you have to do a little bit of analysis.
I do a lot of analysis.
A lot of analysis.
A lot of analysis. They do the work. They do analyze as well because they are not only tense. They have to think, and I want them to think and to push, to be curious. After it's discussion, debate, disagreement. And then when we are in disagreement, say, okay, show me why I'm wrong. You know, like make an experiment to show me I'm wrong or show me I'm right. This kind of stuff. And then we pursue our goal, ultimate goal, and we publish. So then that experiment, big time, 100% of time. And on that you have to analyze.
Yeah.
And then when it's wrong, when it's bad, you have to go back to redo your experiment to improve or not or change the approaches. Analysis. Yeah. Writing article, but not only because to do science you have to get money. So based on projects, we have to write proposal, get money from NIH, so the governmental institutes in the US. So you have NIH, NCI for the Cancer Institute, then foundation, alliance, private stuff. So they have like a request for proposal saying, this foundation of wants to study resistance in melanoma. Oh, well, yeah, that's exactly what I do. So I'm going to write a project and say, hey,
why are you the best guy? Not the best guy, but the best
more like, hey, I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Do you think it's sexy enough to get money, guys? Is it matching your will? We have this experience, this expertise on that.
So you're basically like interviewing for the job, but for the money.
Exactly, yeah. So we have to find money to pay our employees.
How big of a percentage of that, of your work is that? Just trying to find money to fund your
It's kind of like, it's a big part. And
it's probably becoming a bigger percentage of your work because as higher you are in the ranks, as bigger percentage of...
So now it's kind of like, I would say like 90% of my time.
Really?
Is to create project, write project and find money. And then we have people delivering the experiment to be able to do better job, rewrite proposal and republished, and again cycle. So now I'm in a cycle of writing a lot of grants to get.
So obviously that is something that you can do from home. I don't really expect you to be mixing your cells in the kitchen.
Exactly, and you can because you have to be focused and stuff. So I have like you, I have an office at home. I can be focused on that.
Hopefully yours doesn't look like mine.
No, it looks like yours. It looks like yours. Small but comfy. You know, like we are good, efficient.
That's what we say in real estate.
Exactly.
Small but comfy.
Exactly.
But those are keywords for small.
No, but and again, I think you have to find your organization. If you know you are productive in that way, you do it. I know that I like to be in lab. I have my office as well in lab, and for people to come and discuss with me. So I am in lab most of the time, but I do depends of my week and depends of my projects and what I have to do. If it's just writing article and stuff, I can be in lab. It's fun and stuff. But when you have to write grants, you have to be a bit more. That's me. I have to be on my own, more focused. And, so I prefer not being bothered, to be able to write.
Right. Yeah. As far as your job and security of your job in general, how does it work? You usually sign long-term contract with the institution that you work with. In your case, it's UCLA. Is it like a project-based type of thing? How does employment look like in your case? Obviously, you're W-2, I would imagine. You're an employee of the organization, or are you still an independent contract? How does it work? Because I have no idea.
So it's a bit of everything. It's a bit of like you can be an auto-entrepreneur under the UCLA institution. You can be tenure track, then you are an employee of, so you cannot get fired per se, let's say. So you have a big part of your salary taken care of by the university. I'm not at that. I'm not in this path or series at UCLA. So me, I'm like, I have a title there. I have money from grants to work. They can, if I don't have enough money to pay my salary and to pay my employee, they will help me for a bit and they will say, okay, we give you 2 years of help and then after you have to get more money or we are gonna let you go.
That's so interesting. So you're responsible for your own salary.
Yeah.
In one way.
I got a contract with UCLA for I think it was like 4 years.
Okay.
Of like we are gonna help you a bit. So meaning that okay, your grants, it's good to use your grants to do research and to have people, and not only to pay yourself. So we are gonna help your salary up to that percentage for 4 years. Okay, I did that. Then after 4 years, I still had grants stuff. Say, oh yeah, you did good. Now we are gonna again do that. So you can have this kind of like a negotiation as well. So it's a bit of negotiation. We call that negotiation packages in university. It's something that I didn't know. So I learned that from evolving.
And it's once every 4 years. You mentioned, roughly speaking.
I would say like it can be on I would say every 2-3 years, 4 years, or every year. It depends on what your negotiation with your division and department. This year it's a bit more difficult because like the cut at the federal level, but we are gonna push to get more money from foundation, philanthropists and stuff to try to keep the research ongoing. But it's a bit more stressful this year, to be honest. But we are not going.
So you mentioned this year. The question that I have is the job security and how maybe current economic conditions will be changing at any point in time, but how secure are jobs within your industry? Because, for example, certain industries, IT, is very well known. You could see it on the news. Microsoft just let go 3,000 people and this and that. And, people that work within that field quite often are under a lot of stress knowing that they're replaceable by AI, by somebody that will take less money, somebody that is working right now doing the same thing in India. So there's a lot of pressure on their positions. How does it feel within your job?
I'm going to be honest, I kind of don't know much because from my PhD to now, I was lucky to have a great boss and great mentor. So we did like amazing stuff together. So I'm not going to say it was easy, but we did like I got grants, so founding on my own for the lab, for the institution. So it was kind of like a good road or a good journey. This year it's a bit more challenging. So actually I am now
starting to feel it,
experimenting this kind of stuff. But again, I'm not like I'm not gonna be like down. Like I'm always kind of I try to be positive. Like we still have to work hard, and if we work hard, it's gonna be okay. Like don't give up. After I have diploma, I have expertise and experience now for the past 15, 20 years. So I think it counts for something. But actually, I don't know. I know there's turnover in science as well for young PhDs and in private pharmaceutical companies and stuff. But I do think that in the US, there are still like opportunities of job. I think. So I hope it's gonna. I may be wrong on that. I don't know very much. I hope it's gonna be okay. To be honest, I kind of don't know. Yeah.
As far as AI goes, I know that's the big factor in a lot of industries nowadays. How big of a factor it is in your industry? Do you guys use it? And how do you view it to begin with? Do you view it as something that helps you guys, or something that could give you false hope for substitution of real people doing real work?
Yeah, I think AI, it's a big word. Like, let's say, when people they use AI, I don't know in what context, I don't like that. But if you tell me, like, we use AI because we do machine learning, we do modelization, mathematical modelization. So the power of the computer to help our science, or how we can improve. Developing a new technology, you need computer. You need stuff to go faster, to analyze faster, to give you more data.
So it's more of a mathematics side of
mathematics.
Things. For that, obviously, it probably does a fabulous job.
Of course. We do bioinformatics without like a computer, pipeline, machine learning stuff. We cannot go fast. When you do there is new technology, spatial. So you have let's say an example like the slide, and you have your piece of tissue on the slide that all the doctors are looking on a microscope. But now we can scan, and we can have different markers, and then the computer will say what you see with your eyes, and it's a big picture. I see only 3 different type of cells, or 5, was based on the genome and the RNA and everything we see based on the machine, and at the same time, we see 25. So then how can you approach the 25 in therapeutics versus 5? So it's going to give you more granular data, or precise data that you are going to be able to interpret and think, and then move faster. Since I have to do pipette, and you have to have a touch when you do surgery on animal, when you do something, AI is not going to replace all the basic foundation of science. Meaning you have to experiment, but it's going to help us to go faster and to improve our science by new machine, new technology, So I don't use ChatGPT, for example. We don't use that because when you want to create, I don't need that. I prefer thinking about my ideas and try to think about new stuff, because when you want to discover, no one knew, so there's nothing on the internet on that. But it's going to help, that for sure, it's going to help. But it has to be calibrated for your purpose.
So you just have to use it, right?
Oh yeah, we use we have a lot of servers. We have a huge computational room. We have 2 rooms like that in the lab.
Probably.
Yeah, and UCLA has a huge stuff as well to help us, that we can use their big computer to analyze faster. And then I have 2 bioinformaticians, so guys that they don't do biology like me. They do like coding to develop like a pipeline protocols to analyze all the genome and stuff, and to deliver like new data. And it's fabulous because me, when I started my education, I didn't know about that. Honestly.
You still somehow made it here, so.
And I still don't know a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And when I moved here in LA, the lab was doing stuff that I've never heard before. And wow. So I was like so excited. I'm like, wow, what is that? And so it's not my field. I have to catch up. So I have to read, I have to learn. And then that's the thing. You have to learn every time because every day there is something new. So it's very cool. And that's the beauty of science now because people are doing very great stuff. So it's going to be cool. In the next 20 years, I think we are going to be able to do a good job on some diseases.
One thing that I wanted to talk to you about is sort of transfer of this new data that comes out from the research lab, and this is the part that you're responsible to, the doctors that actually use practical application.
Yeah.
How does it usually work? And as a person that works within the medical field, why did you decide to do more of a research-based work rather than application-based work?
Well, it goes back to when I was playing soccer at that time, and I was pursuing my kind of professional career. Since I was in pro club, my education, I was not that great at school. It was difficult to balance. And so I told my parents, hey, I want to do med school. You are going to have to go to a different city. You are not a great student. You think about soccer all the time. No, we can't. So you are going to stay home. And so at home, and it was only school of biology, so biology. So I did biology, but I do prefer biology now, a bit by default at that time. Now by choice, I do prefer that. So the thing is like you learn, so you create like a. So me, I'm not in only the fundamental. How can I say? I am in the translation, meaning that I work on cancer research, let's say therapeutics. So you can find something that can go to patient. So the stuff is like you have to have crazy good validation, what you find on patient tumor. What you do in lab to validate, what you find in mice model to recapitulate or revalidate what you have found, everything, because if you want to treat, you have to have an animal before going to patient. Then you have to be very solid, and then after you can try to open clinical trials with pharmaceutical company based on your data. We have done that twice in 15 years, so it's already amazing. But
so you've done basically the whole process. You've seen the whole process from the discovery that's being made to proving the discovery, to finding the application and to move, to testing it out, I would imagine, and to bringing it to the doctor that says, hey, Mr. Joe Schmo, here's the pill you need to take.
Yeah. And it's, of course, it's not only from my lab. I didn't develop the drug, but it's in collaboration with pharma at some point because they have a lot of drugs that we can try and improve with their collaboration. So it's amazing because again, it's a teamwork. It's a multidisciplinary world. You cannot think that you are going to do everything on your own. And that's amazing with my wife because she does a lot of clinical trials. She's an MD like that, so she's a trialist. And we discuss about that. And it's not that easy to go from the bench to the bed.
Is that the term you guys use, from the bench to the bed?
Yeah, exactly. And it's not easy at all because you want to make sure, because of the toxicity sometimes, because what you see on animal is totally different from a small animal to a human. So you have to be sure that you are going to calibrate very well. So it's very difficult. It's very difficult. But that's kind of like the World Cup. Like if you are able to do that, and it works, or even if it doesn't work very well or not as well as that, it's going to give information. And those information are crucial to move on and to help again and to improve again. So everything has to be done to try to help and to improve and to improve and to improve. So we have done stuff that works super well, and then after it works but not as well. And you say, okay, no problem. We are going to reanalyze and we are going to push back again and be stronger than that, and we are going to help again. It takes time. It takes a lot of time.
It just this transfer process is something that interests me because it's almost like two parallel worlds need to be in some kind of conversation, simply because if you don't know the practical application of it, you're just separated and you work within the specific realm that might have nothing to do with the practical application. But on the opposite end of the spectrum, you look at the doctors that, for example, are so engraved into doing what they're already doing that they might not even be interested in finding something else. And it's how, I'm just curious and I'm just interested. How do you find the balance? And of course, it's a philosophical question. I don't expect you to tell me this is how you do it.
No,
but it's just something that's very, very interesting to me because
I think it's a question
one can't do without the other.
Totally. It's a question we can ask for a lot of different fields, not only science, in economy, how to handle a city, how to handle a country. It's exactly like the communication between the different disciplines. In science, in medicine and stuff, I think when we are lucky because we are in LA or we are in the US or in big countries like that. Right. But when you are in the big, let's say UCLA, because I know UCLA, it's a great university because the doctors, the MDs treating patients, they have to do research.
So it is somewhat of a requirement.
Kind of, because when you are in an institution like that where research is so strong, they cannot only be a doctor. They have to be, of course, doing research. They have to have their hand in research. They have to collaborate with researchers. And that's how they are super powerful because they think about research. They know research. They are doing research as well.
Because you guys doing the same thing just from the different standpoints or on the different stages of the development of that.
Exactly. And a lot of MDs are doing research. And that's beautiful because first, they think, they understand my frustration sometimes not to be able to help patients, but they can help to bridge that. So I think that's very cool. My big boss is MD PhD, so he has both diploma.
So MD, that's basically a practical
practice
designation. PhD is a research-based designation.
Exactly. So he has both diploma and he did both. So I'm like, and a lot of guys like that in the US. It's unbelievable. So I think it's better and better. I cannot say that in France much because I didn't do a big of my career in France, but when I did my PhD, I didn't feel it. I didn't see that. Probably now it's way better because I have a lot of friends doing research in France, and they have great collaboration with MDs. So I think now the world understands that we have to collaborate and be together to go faster and to help.
One of the questions I have is probably somewhat controversial, but I still want to ask you, and feel free to tell me to fuck off.
No,
but
go ahead.
You talk a lot about importance of getting grants and basically getting financing, which is completely understandable because the research that you do, I mean, you just mentioned one little tiny machine that costs $500,000. How many of those machines do you have and how many people do you have? So I understand that it costs a lot of money to come up with any kind of scientific finding. Now, the question becomes who finances this research, because in the perfect world, there would be a government that would just be interested in, making the population of certain country healthier or the world, But that's not necessarily the reality all the time. I would imagine that certain grants and certain financing would come from the companies that do have a vested interest in either speeding up the process of bringing some kind of drug to the people or, and that opens up ethical question about whether or not that kind of money could be used simply because the company that would be financing the research would have vested interest in the research going one way or another. How do you deal with this kind of ethical question?
Well, first, US is giving a lot of money. So the government, through the institution of NIH, National Institute of Health, and after NCI, National Cancer Institute. So it's very well structured. So they give money to different like Alzheimer, cancer. So US is giving a lot of money. Even if this year there is a cut, can happen. We are not going to talk about politics, but US is giving a lot of money. The government is massively investing in research in the US. Then after you have private foundation from philanthropists. So again, a rich.
How do you find those? You just Google people that have $100 million.
No, so those
houses.
How does it work? Those ones are structured. They have a scientific board. It's a company. Huh? It's a big stuff. The guys they are super rich and they want to help the science because probably they had someone from their family having this disease, so they massively invest. They create like grants application, and so I did that one last Friday. I applied for one like that from a private foundation. There is again, and then after there is philanthropy. One guy that can say, I like what you are doing. I want to invest in your, not a patient, but someone from the family, that want, and it's totally authorized in the US that is going to give you the money not to you, but to the lab. It goes to the lab and then you have money to work. So that. Then after for pharmaceutical company, of course we get as well contract with them to analyze their product. But after, because it can be ethically very sensitive, when you work for a big institution like UCLA, I don't do what I want. Okay, when we collaborate with company like that, we have lawyers that they are gonna check the contract, and of course it's not my job. I cannot be. I'm not a lawyer, so we have people totally on top of that, and we go on different like contract, like a mutual agreement, saying like, hey, you are gonna give me your product and a bit of money. I'm gonna study your drug, but it is what it is. Huh?
Yeah. Like I'm not gonna.
We did that. I did publish a lot of products because I'm not a chemist as well, so I have to have drugs from companies to try. And after we have discussion, and I work with drugs that they were super good, and now they are on the market. And as well as, hey, I work with some products that they are not good, and we tell them and say, okay, trash. We are gonna re-improve. Why didn't work? Because of that. Okay, can you improve this part of the product because we have seen that in our experiment it doesn't do it very much like I would like or like it should do. Either you put it in a trash can or you remodify your chemical stuff, and then they go fast because they have all the technology to do that. So again, like a big company, they can test like 1 million of little inhibitors per day. They have a robot doing tick 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 tick, and then they take the best one. Then they readjust, they re-improve, they validate, then they go like that. So then after the validation part takes forever. Okay, but like the discovery, like making a drug, it's very fast now in chemistry. But the validation to be very, very, very strong, it takes time.
Have you thought about switching things up a little bit, and does that interest you at all? Because we would see examples of people doing research going into business, and sort of trying to speed up this whole process, and maybe that's not because they're cutting corners. Maybe that's because they have more funding and there's a possibility to do it. But have you thought, or does it even interest you at all, sort of switching things up a little bit from working just research-based to research/application?
Totally. Honestly, it's not just a question of like a money business spinning up. It's just as well a question of challenge and a bit of like, you have academy is very fun because you have like the freedom. We have the freedom to study what we want. Of course, we have budget to do so, and we are in agreement with the university goals. But it's kind of like very cool to be able. Hey, I want to study the resistance in melanoma in that way. Oh, I want to switch to genomic analysis. Oh, I want to. It's cool, honestly. Then when you go in a business part in a startup or a big business pharmaceutical company, you have a goal. Of course, you don't want to cut corner, but the goal is like you want to develop a drug that is efficient, it works, and you want to go on the market to get money from that. Totally, it's a business as well, so it's totally reasonable. Me, the challenge will be like from A to Z. Like the entire journey, like with the knowledge I accumulated and stuff. I would love to do that. So it's something that I have in mind in the next 10 years. I think that I would love to start something like that as a little challenge.
This whole idea of bringing drugs, and that kind of brings me back to like Theranos, as a company, and you could say whatever you want about the person that was behind it, but I think the whole idea of sort of bringing the effective medicine to people and making it accessible is obviously noble, but the challenge of doing it efficiently is just so great, and the pressure that you would get from investors and from the companies that would give you money. Do you think it is needed to have some kind of degree of separation where the labs will be separated in some kind of way and working on research, and the companies that would start to develop this revolutionary ideas would only be able to work with a technology that's already been proven itself? Because in the end of the day, we end up with another Theranos, every now and then, when the new idea just becomes the selling factor where the math or the science is not necessarily behind it.
I mean, I think it's complicated because it's as well, when you talk about science and discovery, you have your intellectual property. So you discover something, it's yours. But when I discover something from UCLA, it's not mine. It belongs to me and UCLA more. If you are outside and you have an idea and you create a company and you invest on that and you create like a method, a discovery to find like a tumor cell in the blood, like a lot of people are doing that. Finding the DNA of a tumor cell in the blood to try to track faster, to predict. Amazing. So I think what is good is like to have, I'm not going to say that in a bad way, to have competition. We go faster. So then if there is like thousands of people trying to do that and to try to win the competition, of course we should not cut corner, okay? But that people are motivated, they are giving, they are pushing, they are thinking more, they are having teams to brainstorm and to go faster. So I think we have to have a bit of competition because that's how we are going to make things better. If you are in, I'm sorry, if we are in our couch and I'm the only one doing that on Earth, I can take my time.
There's not much research that was done in the last hour while we've been sitting here.
Exactly.
That is true.
You know? But we have a good discussion. I'm kidding.
We have a good discussion. Not much of a research, but a good discussion.
It's complicated for sure. Everything is, especially when you have pressure from investor and stuff, things that I don't know because I don't have that. But I can easily imagine that it's not that easy. But again, the idea to find, I think when you open a company is because you are very good at that. So you know that you are gonna be very rigorous. You have your expertise. I'm not gonna open a company on something I don't know. Because I will be stupid first, and I will waste time for everybody. So I think when you do that, when those people, and I have met people like that the guy who developed the first drug for melanoma, he gave a talk at UCLA. Wow, it was unbelievable. Just to listen his way of talking. He has done this company. It was his third company, target therapy. He was a chemist, so he knew exactly where to find the target on the protein. Clack, he developed, they sold the company. He gave money to the employee, develop another one. He has his idea. He's good at that. He does it.
That's insane amounts of money. They're not big money. They're insane amounts of money.
I don't remember the number. I don't want to, but I think it was.
But they start with B's.
It can be. This one was, I think, hundreds of millions that he sold the company, but not one or two. I think it was, but I don't remember exactly. But they do amazing job because that helped, and from that. We create 2 different combination therapeutics after. And it's just damn amazing because from 5% survival in metastatic melanoma before 2010, now we're at 60. I think it's good. But I think I understand your point because medicine is kind of a unique field.
Very much so.
It's not very much pure business. It's not pure stuff. It's a bit of everything, kind of, you know. Of course, if we talk about the medicine in France, it's governmental. So hospital is governmental. Everything is structured through the government. Through the government. Sorry. In the US, it's not like that.
Not that much so.
Hospital are kind of I'm not gonna private, but kind of even UCLA. It's California, but it's still a big company per se, you know. So it's very different structure, and it's very interesting to go into this kind of economy of one institute because it's so big, and there's 100,000 persons working for this huge university. So wow, it's kind of interesting to see to take a distance and to try to understand things that I don't, but it's not a small it's not a small thing.
From your work, what do you think is the most frustrating part of your work, and what do you think is the most satisfying part of the work that you do nowadays?
Well, frustrating. I would say that sure. Sometimes when you are a bit stressed to look for money and to make sure that your people are going to be paid or you are not going to let off.
Because in the end of the day, this is not what you studied. You studied science and you studied lab work and discovery processes and analysis and all of that.
And you don't learn that at school. I didn't know at school that I had to write grant like that to get money. I didn't know that. Things that now I do, and it's kind of a good exercise as well to write and to show science to people.
But it is a little unfair that you have to deal this.
Kind of, we can say that. So that's kind of, I think, the most difficult part. It's to make sure that you are going to be sustainable financially, to have your lab running and your people. That's kind of the most challenging. And the good stuff is when you find something or when you just have a positive result. You have an idea, you make an experiment, even if it's not a discovery, but just it's very satisfying. I was able to use this product, I was able to kill the tumor. Oh, that's cool, you know. Hey, I analyze why it works like that. I like that, you know. I like that.
As far as your career, where would you like to see yourself in 5 years, in 10 years? I understand that within your field of work, you're probably not looking into very short periods of time. It's next year, you're probably still going to be at UCLA. Chances are, but 5 years, 10 years, what would you like to see yourself?
So some grants are on 5 years time, you know. So big grants in the US are on 5 years grant, on 5 years. So I would say sure. Since I became associate professor, the next step is full professor.
And what's the procedure there?
Having more grants, bigger grants.
So let me get that straight.
Yeah.
In order for you to get a designation within your field, which is a research field, you need to be able to generate money, which is not something that you should do.
Yeah, because on some, so there is something, it's called indirect cost. So when you get a grant from the US government, the NIH, this kind of thing, so they give me money at my value of direct cost, and there is something called indirect costs that goes to UCLA. That means they give money to UCLA to make their infrastructure go, like they have cores on genomic, on pathologic, stuff like that. So we give, it's included in my grant and it goes to them and I get the money. So we can renegotiate for more machine, more space, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So again, it's negotiation packages. And then as well, you have to show that you have been productive. So in terms of research, so publishing article, high level, so high impact factor. So impact factor is the value of the journal. So it's a combination of that, good science, publication, grants, and more you have. So that's why I became from assistant to associate in very few years because I did I got accelerated promotion because of that. And for the next step, it's the same. So being, I think, more established, you know, more sustainable, more established. Yeah, stronger. You have less trouble financially to run a lab, this kind of thing. So it takes, of course, it takes a bit of time. So when you have grant on 5 years like that, you can see 5 years ahead. So I would say in 5 years, I still want to have my position and be even a bit more established. In 10 years, I would say I would like to have this idea of like having a startup or like thinking deeply about that.
Just kind of
like,
see what's available in that direction.
Exactly, yeah. If I have enough expertise of data to do something that could be cool. If not, I love research and I'm totally, I'm not gonna stop because I totally love what I do. I think 5 years, 10 years, I will be like the same stuff, same position, or different position, but like I hope to be more established, that's it.
Well, you've been in this field for so long and obviously you have your wealth of knowledge in that field. When we get started in certain fields, sometimes we have this, rosy ideas of why we're gonna be doing it and what's the word gonna be like. So if you were to go back to the time when you were deciding to, become this career of working in research field and compare it to the ideas of what it is right now and your motivation within the field, do you think it changed throughout the last 15, 20 years that you've done this?
Yeah.
And how?
Yeah, it changed. I would say it didn't change most of the time. I would say like I'm very happy. It's already like what I was made to do, let's say, or what I was meant to do. But sometimes when you have when you have the pressure of like the finance, because like you just said, I do use money. I don't create money with research. So we need money to create knowledge and to find discovery. So I understand the part of the business that we are like the guy using the money and not creating money. So of course it's kind of like unfair. And it's kind of unfair that I have to look for money, but since I don't create money and I use money, it's kind of the game, It's like that I should not be naive and say like, oh yeah, we are gonna give you plenty of money, but no, that's a win-win. So I think that the most frustration or sometimes that make hard again.
But what is it that still moves you, even after all of this frustration,
discovering.
Even after knowing how it works?
Discovering, because like with the new technology, we go deeper. We find new stuff. I think I'm not gonna say on a daily basis, but like very often we can see like wow, people working in our field or people working in cancer, they do good stuff, and that kick me, that kick me to say, oh, I have to keep going. When you go to a big conference, ASCR, a massive conference in cancer research from an American association, you have like 50,000, 60,000 researchers, doctors coming, and you see all the science only in cancer research, not only in melanoma, all cancer research, kids cancer, whatever. And you listen to this guy talking, you listen to this girl talking, you listen to, oh, they have done that, this technology. That makes, wow,
that fascinates you and that just makes you want
to
keep up.
Well, exactly. It's like, you know what? Let's keep on doing and it's going to be fine, So it's good to go to this kind of conference to see like just how the field move. And I think it's fun. Yeah.
Well, honestly, I really wanted to first and foremost say thank you for being here, but more importantly, I wanted to say thank you for working on this because, I mean, we all know people that had cancer and, this is the disease that kills people, and we need a lot of research and we need a lot of, people as dedicated as you are trying to move this field further forward, trying to combat this disease, because obviously sometimes it takes people that don't deserve to go that early. And I think as an ethical human being, you understand what you're working on and how important it is. So from that standpoint, I just wanted to tell thank you, because working in labs, I would imagine that it's not that easy to get the validation and to get the feedback from the society, because you work on such a small, specific little things where you don't get mentioned on the news that often. Oh, look at that, this guy, Gatien from UCLA, he just discovered this thing, and now, finally, we won cancer. Cancer doesn't have a chance. It's not that straightforward of a path, but somebody has to be on this path because it's a process that takes long time, and it takes somebody with your level of expertise and patience and dedication. So I just wanted to say thank you for doing this and for working on that.
Thank you, Oleg, for having me, and it's always good to have the opportunity to talk about science. And wow, we have known each other for more than 10 years, I think 12 years probably now, and we are friends. Yeah. And again, I think in our circle of friends, we all do something different.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of I think LA or playing soccer together. That brings a lot of different brain, and that's the beauty of life. Whatever we do it because we love it. I think that's the key. But thank you for having me. It was great to discuss with you. Thank you very much.
And I'm looking forward to do a visit to your lab.
Of course. Oh yeah, anytime. My pleasure. You should. I have to bring Hamidou. I have to bring the other guy. I have already brought guys in my lab.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sounds like a tour.
Whenever you want. Yeah.
Sounds like a tour.
Not a baby. It's too small
not a baby.
To come,
No.
But you and your wife, no problem. But not a baby yet.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Oleg. Thank you.
Appreciate it.